Welcome to Challenging the Norm, his and hers look at life and business, hosted by Paul Snell and Lindsey Burden. This podcast is designed for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and business owners redefining success on their terms. Each episode dives into the topics that truly matter, offering a blend of candid discussion, practical insights, all delivered with a sense of humour. We reality check the latest business trends while offering a fresh perspective that challenges conventional thinking. Paul partners with business leaders, leveraging cutting-edge neuroscience to demonstrate how people-centered strategies drive transformational success. While Lindsey brings her unique approach to business coaching, empowering ambitious business owners to achieve financial abundance and a lifestyle rich in time and joy, all without compromising what matters most. Together, we are challenging the norm. So grab a coffee or your beverage of choice and join us as we explore the art of creating a life and business you love.
Now, I'm going to ask how you are before you jump in. Of course, I'm going to ask how you are, but it's lovely to be in another episode of the podcast, which we both love to do. And I know, I'm going to ask how you are, but I know you have a particular message for us today, or actually, you've had a message from school. But start, Lindsey, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm great. I mean, the sun's shining. What's not to like? Or what's not to love even? I don't know. I just feel like, I love this time of year, Paul. It's the fresh start. I keep talking about it. I've been writing about it. It's like the new year without the hangover. Right? Drink. So for me, it's just like this wonderful time that's really full of energy. And, I kind of surround myself with people that feel the same. But yeah, so I'm really good. But what about you?
Do you know what? Similar. If you'd ask me which time of year do I really like, and there's lots of different reasons, right? Of course, I love summer, but I really love autumn. There's something about autumn that goes, we've had a really good summer, and nature begins to go, yeah, it's been great. We partied hard this summer, and now we're just going to relax and start dropping a few leaves and go into it. I love this time of year. And again, if it's like it was today, very cold this morning, I actually quite like it. If the sun's out and it's a bit sharp temperature-wise, I quite like that. I was out for my walk this morning thinking, oh, yes, we're getting to that time of year. So I'm with you. I love this time of year.
Yeah, it's great colours, isn't it? And, to be fair, I could have put the washing out and got it dry. So as far as I'm concerned, it's all good. But you're right, Paul. I did have a message from school.
Ah.
Yes, and these messages can come thick and fast on Class Charts, which is the app that we all use. And last week I had a message. Now, apparently, it's that time of year when not all, when children are more susceptible to coughs and colds and sneezes. Now, remembering mine are teenagers, I got one that's nearly 16. So I just want to, put that into some kind of, perspective here. And the message was, because it's that time of year, children need to be reminded to wash their hands and not share drinking bottles. Now, I won't tell you what my daughter said about sharing drinking bottles, remembering she's nearly 16. She thought that was a bit gross. But what it kind of made me laugh because it's back to COVID times. Who knew washing hands? It's just like the miracle cure. Wash your hands, everything will be fine. It's the basics. And that's why I wanted to use the analogy. It's the basics. We should be washing our hands and not sharing drink bottles, all day, every day, any time of the year. It doesn't matter. They are the basics. And I kind of like the analogy because when I was chatting to you before, I was like, that's kind of business, isn't it? The basics are so important. The basics are what help us and our businesses to ride the waves, to move from one season to the next, whether that's an actual season or whether that's just the season in your business, from a busy time to a quieter period. And some businesses have that fluctuation. But it just feels like, just keep doing the basics. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. It can't be that difficult, can it? Can it?
It's what, and it's not. No, but it can't be. It isn't difficult. but so it got me thinking actually while you were doing your intro. It's this doing the basics consistently isn't something ChatGPT can really help with. Right. So if you look at let's throw caution to the wind. If you look at using AI to help with your business plan or your sales forecast or your cash flow. And rightly or wrongly, it will make an attempt to do that for you and with you. But it can't do the stuff consistently. It can't do the basics consistently. You can have a great business plan. It's like I would often say to people, if you look back through history, great products don't guarantee success. I always remember my dad, bless him, he bought a Betamax video recorder.
Oh, they went well.
Well, you see, here's the thing. He would say, Paul, look, this is technically way more advanced than VHS. You can record on both sides. It's much smaller. Therefore, the device is much smaller. So he said, that's why I've got one, because it'll be an out-and-out winner. Lo and behold, it doesn't. Lo and behold, JVC's VHS format absolutely wipes the floor. And it's back to that thing that goes, it doesn't matter how good your business plan is, how good your cash flow is, how good your sales forecast, how good your social media planning is. And I've got to be careful here because I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying it's not enough to give you the success you're looking for. What you absolutely fundamentally need is to do the basics again and again.
Yeah. I always say an action plan is a complete waste of paper unless you implement it.
Yes.
It's useless. But while you were talking then there was something coming to me, and it's, I think in business, and I'm not sure whether I've fallen foul. Yeah, I definitely have fallen foul to it. And I meet people that do, but you start to do the basics and you do the stuff that you have to do and and then you get a bit bored. And I think that's the challenge, particularly for business owners, I would say, who are in that neurodiverse place as well. Hundreds on one tabs, need to, they haven't even finished this thing and then we're running off to this and all of that. It must, for them particularly, and I am doing a bit of a broad stroke when I say them, but I have got a client I work with, and the number of tabs that she has open, and I know what I want to say is, can we finish one? And then we'll close that one and move on. But it's that you kind of get to the point where it just feels all a little bit too easy. Now, I think we sometimes look for the next big thing or the next shiny thing or the next marketing thing because we do get a little bit bored. We don't want to get stale, and not getting stale is an important one. But I think also we get to that point where we go, it really can't be this easy, can it? So we do, I know in my world, I go, it can't be this easy, can it? So I just overcomplicate it and I basically sabotage it. So if you've ever read The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, he talks about the sabotaging. I've definitely sabotaged. Oh, it's all too easy. It can't be this easy. I need to overcomplicate that system, process, you name it. I've done it. I've even started complicated and then made it even more complicated. But I think there's a number of things that happen, or we just get super busy and we forget the basics.
Yeah, I'm going to run with that. I'm also going to run with, I think, and this will touch on the last episode. So it's our brief touch point. That's it. And that is, if it doesn't happen quick enough, we stop doing it, or we think we need to change it. It's really... I've said this before. It's really, I notice it with coaches, if they're not careful, they think going to get another qualification replaces doing the basics well, or doing the basics consistently. And it's not the case. You make a really good point about it overcomplicating it, because the perception of a business plan can feel complex. The perception of cash flow analysis or order forecasting can feel complicated. It therefore must be complicated. Everything must be complicated. And if it's not complicated, here's the ultimate mind mess. If it's not complicated, it's not good enough.
Yeah, and I've definitely fallen into that trap before. I can't charge this price because there's not enough value in it.
Yeah.
It's enough in it. I haven't, and you just throw more and more and more at something, by which time, by the time you finish, you've devalued it, you don't understand it, it's really complicated to deliver, and guess what? No one's buying it. So then we go back to that, no one's buying it, so now I need to create something else. And I do think, and I know we bang on about this all the time, Paul, but it's those external forces that come in all the time. But when I come back to anything I do with my clients or anything that's happening in my own business, it comes back to doing the basics well and doing them consistently
Mm.
over and over again. And now, and admittedly, I've been doing this a few years. So now when I go, oh, it's feeling a bit, a bit easy, not too exciting, I go, okay, how can I make it easier? How can I
Yeah.
streamline? What can I automate? So I look at the process because then that just creates more time for me to work with incredible clients.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's also part of the challenge, Paul. I don't know what you think, but at the beginning of the journey, it's really easy to be busy for busy's sake because at least that way we might not be earning money. And I say we because I definitely have done this in the early stages. We might not be earning money, there might not be income, but we're really busy, so it makes us feel a little bit better.
That's an absolute, and what sits alongside that is if we are busy doing things we like to do, we justify that.
Yeah,
I'm doing the things I really like, Paul, and you say, okay, so let's run through your sales funnel. No, I don't do that. Let's talk about how you approach having a sales call because you know that day will come. No, well, I don't think about that because I'm not there yet. And
absolutely.
so there's an awful lot of avoidance going on, and we argue, we convince ourselves that being busy is okay because it must mean we're doing good things. It's a bit like, you know, you've already touched on it. I love the fact that if you look at social media posts, particularly what people might call value posts, where it's about something you read and go, oh, I didn't know that. I can choose to put that in place if I want to.
Yes.
There's an absolute risk there. And it, again, this messes with your mind a bit. You sit there and you go, right, let's say I'm a reasonable subject matter expert on what I do. Therefore, because of that, I need to be really, really clever with what I say. Because of course, that's what my potential client wants. And it needs to be, wow, I didn't know that. Paul knows so much about these things. Let's contact him. When the reality couldn't be further from the truth. What potential clients want is really something they fully understand,
Yes.
completely understand, so that when it comes to putting it in place, it's not difficult or complex to put into place. Now, what I am saying is that does not equal the consistency to do the work. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is you don't need to overcomplicate or overthink. It's a wonderful book. A friend of mine was talking about the weekend about overthinking. You don't need to overthink this stuff. And you need to be very, very sure. And I think we really want to tell you this. If you're sitting down and doing a plan that you are going to action, keep it to a degree in which you know you can take that action, that it isn't going to involve, well, you know, I need an accountant if I'm going to do any cash flow analysis. In the simplest possible way, business isn't complex. It really is about you're going to sell something that's going to cost you to sell it, and the difference between what you sell it for and what it costs you is your profit.
It's not complicated, really, is it, Paul? We do like to keep it simple.
Well, but it isn't whether you're selling a service, a tin of baked beans, or a £1 million Ferrari. It's the same concept, but
Yes.
you need to do the basics really well. If you are selling tins of baked beans, people need to know that you sell tins of baked beans, and they need to know how amazing your baked beans are, and they don't need to know what color. I'm making this stuff up, by the way. What color dye exists in a tin of baked beans? They don't need to know that. Most don't need to know that. They just need to know that they're a great tin of baked beans. I'm digging myself a hole with baked beans here, but we're running with it.
I'm still letting you go because you did a great job.
But so the point I'm making, you said trying to completely move away from baked beans, is to keep it simple. Really keep it simple so you can do consistency. It's that classic adage, isn't it? If you overcomplicate it, you won't take the action.
No, it's really interesting, isn't it? We talk about business planning.
Mm,
And I remember in the old days, and I'm sure I've said this before, I can create you a business plan that is worthy of taking to the bank manager and asking for a loan. In the old days, that's what you would have had. I can write you 10 pages, 15 pages, you name it. It can have every title, that you need. And he'll have a SWOT analysis. We'll have looked at the competition. We'll have done all of that. And at the end of it, you'll have a plan that you'll probably never look at again. Back to the waste of paper because it just feels too consuming.
Mm.
So the thing that I do really with all of my clients, I'm not I say really with all of my clients, I do with all of my clients is I take them through a process so that we know exactly what we need to do for the next 90 days
Mm.
with a view of where do you want to be in 12 months. Now I don't get them necessarily to write a business plan. I do have a couple of tricks up my sleeve and I get them to write it down so we have a vision of where we're going. But ultimately, I'm always working on 90 days, which is the sweet spot that's long enough to do something,
Yeah.
but also doesn't feel too overwhelming. Now, so I'm not convinced. I'm of the school of thought that says if it doesn't fit on a piece of A4, it's probably not worth too much of your time. And I do that. I have an A4 piece of paper that's my annual plan. It's got boxes. It says business development, business maintenance, marketing,
Yeah.
personal development. And then I go, what am I going to do? What do I need to do in those boxes? And that is my business plan for the year. Job done.
Yeah.
And that drives me. That I always come back to that. I think the other thing that happens for business owners is they do that work and they don't come back to it. So I do a number of pieces of work that I'll be doing and giving my time to, all documents, if you like. I finish one and I go back to that annual plan. Okay, I go and tweak my ideal client policy. Who does that look like? Who is it? Okay, does that fit with our services and offers? Back to there. So all the time I keep coming back. So you just keep looping around until you feel pretty sure because anything could happen tomorrow, that what we have will work. And I don't think you really need to be doing any more than that. I don't think we need to worry too much. If you're at the point where a cash flow is really important, you've probably got an accountant.
Yeah.
Probably ask them to do it.
Yeah.
Don't do the things you don't have to do. Don't do the things that aren't your zone of genius. And it would depend where you are on in your journey. But don't make it any more complicated.
No.
Write a whole long list of things that you need to do that will make this year awesome, as long as you know the goals that you're aiming for, because that's what you need. You need a point of reference, which I'm sure is a phrase you've used before. We need a point of reference or a lens to put it through
Yeah.
so that when we do take action, that basic action, that rinse and repeat action, we can ask ourselves, does that bring us income now? Is it income in the pipeline? Or the third one, is it just nice but
Yeah.
unnecessary?
Yeah. And you know what? For me, keeping it simple, keeping it straightforward. I don't think it's always has to be simple. It has to be straightforward. It has to be
Definitely.
uncomplicated, which I don't think it's the same as simple. Um, but for me, that's so important because I love getting caught up in all the clever stuff and the psychology and so forth. And while that's a real thing for me, I enjoy it. You know, it's quite funny when I meet mates and down the pub and they go, "Oh, Paul, you know, we went to the rugby at the weekend, or we went out looking at brand new cars," and I talk about how people think. And it's not always an enlightening conversation because honestly, at times I don't really care. But it's my passion. It's what I love.
Yeah.
So for me, it's critically important to separate my passion and enjoyment of that sort of thing and the action I need to take on a consistent basis. If I blur the two, what tends to happen is my passion for the subject, my passion for knowledge around the subject becomes predominant. And I argue with myself to say, well, you know, you need to know more, Paul. You need to know more to become more of an expert. And in this side of my head, there's this little thing on my shoulder going, you're not doing the basics. You're not doing this consistently. So you can be as clever as you like. So let's get back to 𝗪𝗪𝘁 for a moment. You can
Yeah.
be incredibly clever, but if you don't do the basics well, it doesn't matter how good you are, you will still run out. It will still end up being the company or the person or the business that went off and did the basics well. Ask JVC. They know they did VHS really well.
It's quite interesting what you were saying there. And because to anyone listening, if you think learning more, getting another qualification, or understanding how Google Ads work, or any other thing in your business that anything that you are using as a distraction, whether you realize it or not, from doing the basics, you might as well shut up shop. And I
Correct.
mean that with love in my heart.
Yeah.
Because if you are not doing the basics and you are not bringing clients into your business, if you are not making sales, you don't have a business. So you can have as many qualifications as you like. You've got no business.
In fact, I'm going to be even harsher with that.
Oh, go for it.
And that's for me, I don't do harsh normally, but I'm going to be harsh with that and say, you may as well sit around a bonfire and throw £20 notes in. It's that productive, right? At the end of the day, how good you are, how many more trinkets you have, how many more qualifications you have. This is all marvelous, but it's secondary. It's always secondary. When you start out in business, your primary objective is to generate income.
Yeah.
There is nothing else. You know, when people say to me, "Oh, no, Paul, I'm in business because I care." No, I get it. I care too. And I'm sure you do, Lindsay.
Yeah.
But you don't, it's that old adage, if you don't earn income, what you do is merely a hobby.
Yeah, and also if you're not earning income, that thing that you want to do, that difference that you make, you can't make.
Nope.
So you have to be serious about making money in your business to be able to do what you want to do.
Yep. And that is critical, right?
Mm.
You know, with all that we've discussed this on previous episodes, but if doing the thing you love doesn't pay the bills, you can't continue doing the thing you love.
Yeah.
It's really that straightforward. And we've discussed in the past this idea that if you run out of money, just carrying on doing what you've been doing isn't going to do it.
No.
It's so critical, this. I sort of want to dwell on it because money always becomes the biggest issue when a business isn't being consistent about what it needs to do to generate income streams. Always.
I've had a conversation recently with someone who, and I've fluctuated between you can't make it about money, but it needs to be about money. Actually, I'm okay with it being about money. And actually, I love it being about money because I like the figures. They're easy to track.
Yeah.
Like to keep it simple. It's easy to track money. And I had a conversation with someone recently, and I don't know if we'd seen a number of talks. Her and I had been obviously in the same kind of spaces, and we'd both gone, do you know what? It's okay to make it about money.
Mm.
Because, and I know and you and I have talked about this, it can't really be about the money, but I think that it can be with two things in mind. Without money, you have no business. Without sales, without clients, without customers, without bringing income into your business, you don't have a business. So it doesn't matter what your why is behind the money, you're not going to fulfill that why. So if it's to reach more people and to have people, have smoother divorces, happier relationships, whatever it is, you're not going to do it. And I think the other part of that, I'm going to make it about the money, is while we say that, and I think any of us that do say, no, it's absolutely about the money, that's the income, what we're saying is we have worked out that that income enables us to do X, Y, and Z, which might be pay off the mortgage, take out the family on holiday twice a year, buy us place in Spain, other countries are available. We've worked out what the money enables us, helps us, supports us to do. And while I talk a lot about money mindset and not dropping into that place of lack and that fear, equally you need to have something that you can move towards. And if you can work out what that magic number is and what that achieves, make it about the money. And that's okay.
Yeah, it is. It is okay. That's nicely put, right? Because the difference is subtle, actually.
It is really subtle.
And it's nicely put because I think it's really critically important here. I've seen too many times when someone is, and we've touched on this before, I know, but it's relevant when someone says, "Oh, I've got 3 months savings. I'm going to open my business." Money in a business, particularly when you're starting out, enables creativity because the opposite is enables uncreativity, right? The minute you start stressing over money is the minute you stop thinking about things you need to do. Because all you do is sit there and go, yeah, but I can't pay my bills next month. So you stop doing the basics consistently.
You do.
And I know this sounds a little bit harsh because some people sit there and go, but all I've got are 3 months' money. That's where we slip into, and this will be, I'm sure we'll talk about this again, and we have done it before. You don't, it's not all or nothing. It's not a binary choice. Either you have money, therefore you can go into business, or you don't have money, therefore you can't go into business. It's not a binary choice, right? But I know many people who are very happy, very comfortable with the fact that they have a full-time income from a job and that the weekends they do their flower arranging or any other activity, doesn't matter what it is. And they're very happy with that. And I'm really pleased for them, because should doing the basics provide them with the opportunity to become fully independent and do that for a living, well, that's a big round of applause.
Yeah.
What they're not doing is going, right, I've jumped. I've got 3 months. Come on, Lindsay, you've got to help me earn 40 grand a year in 3 months. I've some bad news for you.
It ain't gonna happen.
It ain't gonna happen. So I'm the money thing for me, and you make the point, actually, you said it gives you choices. That's exactly what it's about. And the choice you need to make is do the basics well. Just do it. It's I don't know how we can say it in different flavors and different ways and different colors. The reality is you just need to do the basics. And by the way, uncomplicated basics.
Yeah.
We're not talking about sitting here and writing in a foreign language or developing the next theory of relativity. We talk about really basic things that you need to do consistently and do them well.
And I think if somebody is still going, I'm not sure what that looks like in my business, here's some examples. The basics, yes, they are showing up. Yes, they are being visible. And that might include marketing. But for me, and the one thing that has made the greatest difference to my business and to that of my clients, is where the basics for us is having conversations, having a CRM so we can nurture and build on those conversations, so we can move them through the process and we can turn them into clients. It is always, what can I do today to reach out to? How can I take little old me or my products or my services? How can I take them out? Because if you're sat there with your incredible services, offers and products, waiting for people to come, they're not going to come. So take it out and be unapologetic. Get on LinkedIn. I know we talked about that and you're not massively keen. Start those conversations in those direct messages, in the DMs. Take that conversation to a virtual coffee if you need to. Continue the conversation. How can I help? On a piece of paper in front of me, it says, how can I help? And I ask that in every single conversation. How can I help? Because you never know what's going to come from that. And it's about conversations all the time. The basics are they're not flashy. They're not exciting. They're not sexy. But they work.
They do. And you touch on something that I'm a huge advocate of, and you and I doing this today is a consequence of that. And that is, relationships are so important.
Yes.
And we're talking about relationships, right? Get to know people. If you know, we've had the conversation on LinkedIn, we're not going to go there again. But one of my beefs is, no, if you don't get to know me and then you ping me and tell me you've got the perfect program for me, I'm not going to respond well to that. If you get to know me and say, look, Paul, I've got this idea, I will give it consideration. Doesn't mean I will finally go with it, but that relationship is valuable enough for me to give it serious consideration. And that is where you want to be.
It's just conversations. It's conversations.
Isn't it funny? Because the reality is we're all qualified already to have conversations.
We are.
We don't need any qualifications for that.
And what I'm finding really interesting, and I can give examples where in my own business, recently someone came in and started to work with me. They've been on my mailing list a very long time. Right offer, right time, in front of them. I've met a couple of other people recently who met me once networking, just love the energy, booked a call, and have given me money. That's because I consistently network in that network. I am known in that network. You don't have to come across that many times to know that there's somebody I want to have a conversation with. Let's see where that goes. Just do the basics. And Paul, I don't think it is the basics, but you have to work out what the basics are in your business, because there is no 20 basic steps that will work for you. Because for you, it could be creating video and getting that across all of your platforms and then having those conversations with people who have interacted. Your basics will be completely different from mine.
Yeah, they will, but there are some fundamentals, aren't there? So
Get
your basics,
talk to people.
yeah, there you go. You see, there are some fundamentals. You can't. This is why, for me, I'll often say to people who I work with, you're having a conversation with me, or you're having a conversation with your wife or your partner or your husband over dinner. That qualifies you. Simple as that. Have a conversation. And they go, yeah, but what if they don't want to know about it? Then what's the worst that can happen? They say no, thank you.
And
Well,
actually, I encourage all of those people out there actually who right now are going, oh, I want to say no, but I don't know how to say no, and I don't want to just say no.
yes,
Because a no means we can all move on and everyone's happy. I love a no. A no says I've done a really great job and I've helped that person in front of me decide whether to work with me or not. And it happens to be no on this occasion, and I'm good with that. So if anyone's finding it hard right now to say no to someone, go and do it now because it's all part of this process. And
so
that in itself will give you confidence to have more conversations.
agreed. So what I am going to say is if you're all listening and going, I need to say no to Lindsay, she's open to no.
I'm open to no's. Love a good no.
You're absolutely right, Lindsay. And doesn't matter how I cut this, it still comes for me. It still comes back to relationships. Even e-tailers that sell things off websites, one of the things they need to do is be able to connect with someone. They still need to be able to connect. You want people to buy from you, make sure that they are comfortable with that. That comes from relationships, however you define that, right? In what you and I do, and in most cases, that's maybe jumping on a Zoom call or meeting someone in person if they're local and just talking. And what I will also say is sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes the person isn't right for you, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
I've had many a conversation. It was a great conversation, a good laugh. It wasn't going to go anywhere. That's all right.
No, I agree with you, but we need to be having lots of conversations. And if someone's going, oh, I don't have time for that right now, then we need to talk because we need to work out a way of finding that time in your diary. Because I guarantee you're giving your time to something that is not driving income.
Yeah, it's true. And, we talk about fundamentals. I think just to summarize, what we are saying is don't get distracted by things that are not doing the basics and consistently. Don't sit there thinking if you do it for a week, everything will come flooding in and you'll be fine. It takes effort and time. And make sure that you don't overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
You don't need to sit there. And I was talking to someone the other week who's got the most complex CRM funnel making machine. That's the best way I can describe it. It looks amazing. They've taken several months to build it, and it's too complicated to even begin to understand. So please do keep it simple and straightforward. It's amazing, Lindsay, you made this point. It's amazing how much progress you made when you do something that you think, no, that's too simple. That's too easy. It's got to be more complex. It doesn't.
No.
Stick to the basics. If you're not sure what your basics are, prioritize relationships in one way or another. Just prioritize it. Just go, if you've got your little tick list of things you're going to do because you want to do consistently, prioritize having a call with someone, having a virtual coffee with someone.
Yeah.
Go on LinkedIn and just go, that's an interesting, I think I'm going to ask them if they fancy a virtual coffee.
Yeah.
The worst that can happen is no, but it is the foundational thing that everything runs from.
And I was going to say, if you're going to try that, because I really like this idea, if you could do that for 6 weeks without selling, so take away the pressure, you don't have to sell to anybody, no conversation has to lead to a sale. You just want to increase the number of people that you're connected with, the number of people who may or may not work with you, number of people who may or may not be able to help you, but just make it all about having conversations over anything else you're doing. For 6 weeks and don't sell, I guarantee you someone will go, how do I work with you?
Yes. And
Guarantee you.
I'll also guarantee that people actually do like to have a chat.
They do.
They really do. You know, you hear the horror stories about, oh, this person's, I forget what they call blocked me or whatever it is. The reality is most people love to have a chat. And
They
it's,
do. And I would say, this whole blocking narc. I mean, I have been blocked once on Twitter, now called X, by someone. And I really didn't know why, except
yeah,
we did a similar thing.
yeah,
But that's the only time. And actually, it was quite hurtful at the time. It's quite a few years ago. And it can hurt and it can sting. That's how
yeah,
I would describe it. But you know what? Just move on. It's okay. You weren't right for whatever reason. It was something you said triggered them. Just move on. And actually, if you see something on social media that triggers you, just move on.
yeah.
Don't comment.
It's not worth it. It's
Don't make the algorithms think that you like that stuff and send you more.
yeah, no,
Roll on by.
it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So I think we're clear, aren't we? I think we made it clear because I don't want to keep harping on about do the basics. We've said that, and I think we've made it clear where some of the fundamentals are. We've also made it clear that your aren't necessarily the same as someone else's. I want
That's
that to be a proper message too.
yeah.
There's a risk that someone will pick up a book or a video and go, well, that's how they do it, so it must be right for me. That isn't always the case, and you need to be mindful of that. So I think looking back over this episode, the point about making sure you're not being busy for busy's sake is really important.
Yeah, it is.
And what sits right behind or in front of that is make sure you're doing your basics well and consistently. It isn't going to happen in a week or 2 weeks. You may start seeing some fruit after week 3 or 4 just with conversations. We're not talking about orders. What we're talking about is you building up relationships. Lindsey, I can't think of if ever I needed someone to do something, if I needed some technical resource for anything, I'd knock on your door. You know too many people. And I'm not doing that in a sinister way, by the way.
That sounded really weird, but she knows a lot of people. They're all in the basement.
Yes,
I just
but
thought
but
that
but
was
but you because of how you network, because of how you build relationships, you are very well connected with the right people at the right time.
yeah,
I think that's absolutely critical. So I am going to finish on that, Lindsay. I'm going to finish on the fact that we are very clear here that it is not about busy for busy's sake. We're very clear that it's not complex, right? We're not saying your business won't get complicated because it can at times.
yes.
What we're saying is business isn't complex. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I think it is. And I think you've done a really good job because we've actually covered a huge amount of ground. So it might be one of those episodes where people have to listen to more than once.
Yes. And if you do listen to it even once, please do let us know if you enjoy it. Drop us a message. So if you're on Spotify, I think you can do it on Spotify. So drop us a message, or you've got our website details, ping us a message on the website. We'd love to hear from you.
We would.
Excellent. Till next time, Lindsay.
Take care, Paul.